Hello and welcome to the preview show in association with Sports Broker. I'm pleased to be joined by Harry Toffolo, our left back, and Leon Wobschall from the Yorkshire Post. How are you both doing this morning? You okay?
Yeah, great. Thanks. Not too bad.
Yep, very good. Thank you.
Excellent. If we jump straight into day off for you, so thank you very much for joining us. It's probably much needed after Tuesday night. I was knackered watching that game because it seemed to start 100 miles per hour and ended that way as well in like the 96th minute. How was that evening for you boys?
Oh, it was fantastic. Obviously, when you go 1-0 up to then concede and to go 1-1 and it happened again at 2-1 to then concede again is not ideal scenario, but it just showed you the sort of the fight and togetherness that the lads have got. And we went all the way to the very end, and I can't remember what minute we scored. It was definitely 80 plus minutes, wasn't it? We scored the winner. So it just shows you the fitness levels of the lads as well, and just a desire to win a football match.
Yeah, Carlos spoke a lot about the personality of the team afterwards, and that was the thing that he seemed most proud of in the group. And having spoken to a few of the boys and everything, they've spoken so much about the togetherness and the atmosphere in the group. Is that one of those results that only happens if everyone in the dressing room is pulling together?
Yeah, it's the togetherness is the foundations of any team really, and then the fight. And we were saying after I was speaking to Lee Nichols after the game, Lee just turned to me and went, "I love this team." And I said, it's literally like you go in every day, you're coming into work to play with your mates, and it's very rare you have that in a football environment. Usually, you have a few bad eggs, you have a few bad people, or people that are not pulling their weight, sort of thing. But everybody. You got 24 lads I think it's 24 total lads that aren't even in the match day squad, but they're giving their absolute all every single day in training, and they're ready. So if one of us has a slip up one day, they're ready to come in and have an impact, and just as good of an impact as anybody else. So I think you've got that 24 lads, even the lads from the B team coming through as well. When they train with us, they push us. And it's only benefiting the first team. And then there's a reason why we're on 16 points after this amount of games.
Yeah, I think this is our second best start ever in the Championship since going back up from League One, and the only time we've done better is the season we were promoted. So it's not a bad precedent to be making. Leon, that togetherness that Harry speaks of and the way that they won that game on Tuesday night, is that something that's evident from the press box as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you sort of look at the statistics. I think on 4 or 5 occasions already this season when Huddersfield have lost, they've immediately hit back with a win. And, that obviously it's about how you play. But as Harry said, you've got to factor a lot of the things about, togetherness and spirit. And Huddersfield, obviously, there was some criticism from the performance offensively at Swansea. And, look, a really good group of players, and they've took that, information on board, what they maybe weren't doing so well. And, just from the first minute against Blackburn, you could just see, in the body shape, there was a lot of go forward and creating good angles. And they just looked so intent on doing something about it. I mean, there'd been that little bit of charge about slow starters. There was real intensity and energy from the off against a form side in Blackburn, and it reflected really well on the players. And as Harry said, they had a little bit of adversity when Blackburn came into it. They obviously equalised twice, but Town really kept going. And I think another thing that's striking, I think they've had 11 goal scorers this season, and obviously that can talk about the proficiency of a team, but a lot of that can be, spirit as well, and everybody chipping in, and really, a really good sign.
Do you think if this game was played last season in much the same way, it doesn't feel to me as if that's a game that Town would have ended up winning?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I mean, the game could have sort of gone either way, couldn't it? And
yeah.
Heads could have dropped after the penalty that was conceded. The game was on a real knife edge, wasn't it? But Town kept pushing, and there were loads. It was, they were getting crosses in the box. There were chances, and it just kept going. And it's terrific for Danny Ward as well. I mean, he's he's had some tough moments on his second coming at the club, and you sensed that he really needed that. And I'm sure Harry will probably say there's a real popular lad in the dressing room, and everyone looked really so delighted for him, and 2 cracking goals as well.
Yeah, do you want to talk on that, Toffs?
Yeah, Wardy obviously was unfortunate last season with injuries, and he's obviously got back in swing of things again. He got injured again, and it was frustrating for him, and it affected him a lot mentally, as you would imagine any football player in that situation. Yeah. And then this season, he's come back fitter than ever in pre-season. He's looked in the best nick of his life, and he's showing that now. And I'm so glad that he's having the opportunity as well to now get on the score sheet. He's a big player for us. He's an ex-Premier League striker. I think you've got to take that into consideration as well. He's played in the Premier League, he's scored in the Premier League. You've got to respect that as well. And to have somebody like that in your artillery is fantastic. And if we can continue to feed him like Sorba Thomas with that lovely cross he put in for him as well, and then myself with the header. As wing-backs, if we can provide a striker we know is going to go and win the header, then that's a positive for us, and it's an exciting time to hopefully kick on now.
Yeah, Jordan Rhodes on the post-match show was making the point, and he's probably best placed to comment on this, of how deceptively difficult those 2 headers he scored were. The fact that it was all about intelligence and making space for himself, and he really wrestled to get to that first header from Sorba, and the one from yourself, Harry, he read it and seemed to know exactly what was going to happen before it happened. So it's, people might look at it and see him as 2 close-range headers, but there was a lot of good striking work that went into that perhaps is a bit underrated. You mentioned there the wing-back role that you're playing this season, Harry, with the 3-4-3 that we play more often than not. You seem to be getting into the box a bit more often than you were last season, and you're bombing up and down, and you and Sorba are up and down the pitch constantly. Is that a role that you're really enjoying? Because you seem to be thriving in it when we see you out there.
Yeah, I love it, and I remember I actually saw the press that the manager did after the game. He very much said that we attackers, wingers, defenders, fullbacks. That's the full role. You have to do both sides of the game. You can't just stay back and be a left back. You need to then get forward and attack the box. I think when we broke out, we kept the ball composure on the edge of the box really well for the third goal. The way that built up, set back, went up to Danny Ward, striker held the ball up, flicked it on. And I think in a normal scenario, you're 2-2, you're thinking, hold on a minute, we're going to stay. We're 2-2, we've just conceded again. We'll in a normal scenario, you say, right, we're 2-2, 8 minutes to go, let's sort of stay in the game. But no, the mentality was to go and get the next goal. And you make a run, you look at Sorba on the right, myself on the left, you run about 80 yards to the point being in the box, to then head it back across to Danny Ward. And you don't get that unless the Carlos demands that from yourself, and you put it into training, because you're having to make an 80-meter sort of tough run in 80 plus minutes. They're not easy in that time of the game as well. So I think it's definitely helping myself. It's stamina is something that I look at one of my strengths as well. So, and you look at the likes of Lewis as well in the middle, that these are players that will just, industrious midfielders, just run and run. You've got Scotty High will do the same. You just got them all over the pitch now. It's sort of machines that just want to keep running for 98 minutes, however long the game total is.
Yeah. One interesting thing that I think Leon touched on that I wanted to run past you, Harry, was that we seem to start quicker against Blackburn than we did in the past couple of games. Is that something that was a conscious difference? Obviously, I know it wasn't the game plan to go into Swansea and go, oh, lads, let's start slowly today. But was there a bit more emphasis on let's take the front foot and show a bit more initiative in front of the home crowd today?
I think it's because Swansea, honestly, we started so poorly. It was not Huddersfield Town identity that day. We started that slow that it wasn't the levels that we know we can get to. It's been frustrating. We've had a short time, but it's felt like a long time to get that over in our heads.
Yeah.
One thing we said when we were in the dressing room before, this is our home. No one comes here and sort of runs over us. So we need to now we've implemented that at home with a quick start. We've now got to go away from home at Luton, and we've got to have the same mentality no matter whether we're home or away. So it's about now trying to create that in the dressing room. I think the warm-up before the game, the intensity was the best I've ever seen in my time at Huddersfield. You just could sense something good was going to happen think we created 3 clear-cut chances in the first 8 minutes of the game, looking back at it. So that is momentum. And you can only imagine if you're on the other side of the fence where you'd be thinking, wow, this is just like just wave and wave of attack. So if we can continue to do that and hopefully put it into our displays away from home as well, we can sort of test teams in the first 10, 15 minutes of games.
One thing that you did on Tuesday night at the end of the game, Harry, that was quite nice, and this sort of feeds into your senior role within the team and also your Terriers Together ambassadorship, is you went over to the fans and you made a real point of taking the sound down for one of our fans that's not very well at the moment. Is that togetherness between the team and the fan base something that you're very conscious of making sure we have? Because in the past few seasons, when Town have been at their best, it's been when not only the team, but the club as a whole has had that togetherness.
Yeah, totally. I've been here for 22 months now, and I think I had witnessed fans for about 4 or 5 weeks of my sort of when I first signed here. And I can imagine when you're losing games, we started fantastically well last season. The end of last season, we came off it. The fans aren't at the game. You sort of lose that. People lose that attachment to the football club, which is sad for us as players, because we want the fans close by, and I'm sure they want to be close by as well. So it's down to us as players. All we can do is try, and I've said it before, all we can do is try it and perform the way we are. So then every single fan, however many 15 to 20,000 people in that crowd, can relate to one person in that side, and they feel like they're playing that game and as well. And we just want to basically give it our all. And we want the fans to be proud of what their football team is. And we want to give, as players, we want to give the football club, we want to give the fans their football club back, and a club that they're proud of. They want to come to games. I've seen that we sold out Luton away is exceptional, especially with the petrol crisis at the minute. Incredible. But no, it's down to us players. At the end of the day, we can talk off the pitch, but I think we come down to it and we just run. And I think that's all that Huddersfield fans expect from you, is to work hard and wear your heart on your sleeve and sort of play for the name on the front, not the back. So it's something that we're working really hard towards. We've been doing a lot of work this season in making sure the fans are feeling together with us. And end of the day, we're nothing without them. So we want to make sure that we're all sticking together.
That's really nicely said.
I was just going to pick up on that, actually. It seems like you got really good characters there at Huddersfield. I mean, somebody that you'll know well, Harry, Paul Warner at Rotherham, he was massive on that, wasn't he? Obviously, you want good players, but getting a good environment and real top people. And, I like the fact that in the summer you brought in players, nice and early, obviously to get them integrated into the playing style, but also assimilate them into the squad and bring the lads together and get those bonds. And, obviously in these 3-game weeks, that sort of character and spirit, it can come into its own, especially in these sort of last games, which they can be quite demanding, can't they, physically? And, really good signs. You seem to have got a really genuine set there, which you need in a 9-month season. They're going to come to the fore.
Well, you think you play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, we could have 2 away games in 1 week. So we're going to be spending a lot of time together. If you didn't like someone, it's not going to be fun. So I think that's the other side of it. We all know each other's strengths, and we all know each other's weaknesses. So when someone's feeling down, the next man picks them up or whatever. And it's a whole team effort, and it's now hopefully we can just keep picking up the results and getting the process right, which will then ultimately give us the results.
And sometimes a little bit of adversity. You had that in that game against Fulham early in the season. It was a bad result, but it can be known not necessarily a bad thing in every way, because it can bond you and bring together, and you find out a bit about each other as well.
Yeah, totally. No, totally. I think you have to look at everything with fine tooth comb, whether you win or you lose. And I think you've got to take lessons, and we learn from the wins. Like, for example, we learned from the 3-2 at Blackburn. We learned from the 4-0 at home when we beat Reading. Yeah, there's still bits you can learn from. So we've got to make sure that we keep doing that.
Leon, I wanted to ask you about Harry's role in the team and the sort of position he's playing this season. As he says, as essentially a left winger and a left back at the same time. Is that something that's you've seen as sort of a real feature of Town this season, especially with Sorba on the right? I think it was his fifth and sixth assist of the season on that evening. So he's not done too badly and he's in the Wales squad now. Is that shift to that wing back ship something that's propelling Town on?
Yeah, I mean, you look at quite a few teams. I mean, I did the game at Barnes last night. They both sort of played 3-4-3 to start with, and it seems to be a lot of managers are thinking can be sometimes where you get your width from sort of deeper positions at wing back, and it must be great. I mean, obviously, Sorba's been fantastic, hasn't he? And I think as well, his defensive side as well. I mean, he looks so attentive to that. He's a player who really wants to learn, and you could see him. Was really diligent about his defensive work, and it must be great for Harry as well. I mean, obviously you're a fullback who likes to bomb forward. You enjoy your defensive work, but you're getting licensed to do some damage, and you can get in those sort of danger positions a little bit from deep. And sometimes when you're a little bit further forward, you can be sort of blocked out a little bit. And yeah, I think it's a position that's sort of coming in vogue in football, isn't it? And you can get a lot of joy there from those deep positions.
Harry, could you just shed some light on how Sorba is around the team? Because we see him around the training ground and we see the energy he brings and the enthusiasm he has for the game, his ambition, which is sky high, and the lads all been really happy for him and encouraging after that Wales call up, because it's something that he's publicly been pushing for and he's really been playing for this season.
He's one person that deserves it probably more than anybody in that side. I think not just because of obviously the outputs he's putting on the pitch, but as a human being as well. He's probably one of the best down to earth just characters that I've come across in football. He just wants to work hard. He knows he's good. He wants to work hard, but he's extremely humble with it as well. So he realizes that he's going to need all of us with him, the management staff, the players. He knows he's going to need everyone with him, and the sky's the limit for Sorba. As long as he stays grounded, he's come from a good background, his family as well. He's come from an honest background as well. So yeah, everything's set up perfectly for him. And if there's anything that myself and the other lads can do to help him, then we're there for him. And he's willing. He's a willing learner, and he wants to take his game to another level.
He seems a really low maintenance sort of lad, Harry. I mean, he's obviously one of those. He's actually had to work for a living as well, hasn't he? And he's seen the other side. And like you say, as a human being, he's obviously got perspective, and he's had knockbacks, and it just seems to have had a great grounding, and he must be so hungry to make the most of this opportunity for him.
Oh yeah, so obviously in part of life you get bonuses for doing whatever. Obviously we're not going to say the bonuses, but for example, we won the game against what was it, Reading. We won Reading, and he's got the goal. He scored his goal that day, and I think got an assist as well.
Yeah, and
he thought that the win bonus was shared between the whole team. So when he was saying to me, buzzing, should we split that between 18 people?
Yeah, I
was looking at him thinking, what's he on about? Yeah, and then the sort of said, I was like, what are you talking about? I said, that's yours. That's your win bonus, and everyone gets the win bonus. This is what it is, and you get your appearance money. That's you. And he was just like, his head was like, oh wow. Well, this is what I mean. This is what he's like. He's just
fantastic.
He's a joy to be around. I love him as a person. He's unbelievable, and I get on really well with him as well. And yeah, I hope he kicks on. I hope he goes away with Wales. I hope he scores, because honestly. And I hope he keeps posting it all over everywhere as well, because he has every right to just do it, because he's living his dream. He's about to represent his country, and he's someone that deserves everything that's coming to him.
He's doing it for everyone. He's doing it for himself, isn't he? But you can just see it's a sort of a bit of a present for you lads as well, isn't it?
Everybody will be so proud. Everybody will be so proud, because I think he came in and he had a shock to his system when he came from Bournemouth, because I think he came in thinking he's going to come in and play at the time, and then thought, oh, wow, he had to take a step back. Obviously, in the time he came in, the team started to have a bit of dip in form as well. So he probably thought, oh, I could be getting in, but then didn't realise the intensity of a championship game. Now he's come back. He's come back from pre-season. He came in early over the off-season. Full credit to him. Full credit to the club as well for doing that and pushing him to do that. And then he's come in and he's doing extremely well. And he's just got to make sure he stays grounded, because at this rate, he's going to end up with about 40 assists.
That wouldn't be too bad. I don't think anybody's going to be complaining if that's
absolutely
the end of the season. Leon, have you managed to see much of Luton at all this season? Because obviously that's our opponents away at Kenilworth Road this Saturday. What are we to expect? Because they had another big win last night.
Yeah, I mean, I've not actually seen them in person. I know they've had a win at Barnsley earlier this season. Scored, one thing I haven't noticed, they've scored quite a few goals in the last minute. And obviously we talked about character, togetherness, spirit, fitness. So they seem to be quite a tight group. They were obviously 2-0 down at Blackburn, came back and drew. I think there was there another away game as well where the Bristol City, I think, where they scored in the 90th minute. And you look at them as well. They lost 5-0 earlier in the season at home to Birmingham, I think, wasn't it? That's a real shattering blow. Well, they obviously turned that around and they beat Coventry 5-0 last night. So they've obviously got something about them. I think they've got a fair few players as well who've come up from the lower divisions, done the hard yards in League One. I mean, players like Connick's got 4 goals. He's been around on the scene for a good while, and Adebayo's got 4 goals. Obviously, a former target of Huddersfield. So they've got something about them. Got a good spirit. They're tight and together. It's always a difficult place. Kenilworth Road, the crowd can get on top of you, and it will be a test for Huddersfield, but it'll be a good test, and it should be a good game, that one.
Harry, I know with the prep that Carlos, the assistants, and the analysts give you guys, you could probably tell me all their players' inside legs, but without giving too much away with our prep and our tactics, what are you expecting from Luton? Because you're both going to be going in with a lot of confidence after midweek wins. How are you seeing that game going? What type of game is it going to be? Is it going to be another one that's 100 mile per hour?
I think so. I think it's going to be two dressing rooms that have, like we said earlier, have got a togetherness and a spirit. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a real good. For the neutral, it's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to it because we're confidence is high from the last game coming into it as well. Their confidence will be flying as well. I think they picked up a 5-0 win, but also you can look at the other side of it as well. That Blackburn picked up a 5-1 win before they came into ours. So we'll be ready. Yeah. We'll be at it. We'll do our homework and we'll make sure that. And I'm sure that the manager's going to give us the best possible tactics to win the game, as he usually does. So we're going to make sure that we go in there, implement the game plan that the manager gives us, and then hopefully that'll be enough for 3 points, and we can have a nice, safe journey home with a nice 3 points for international break.
Yeah, touch wood. Sometimes I try and ask, footballers questions because, you guys have a different perspective of it actually being in the squad and playing the games, and, us that cover it, it's a completely different world to us, even though we work in the same building effectively. With it being sort of the game before the international break, do you guys have that thing in the back of your head like, I don't have a game to prep for 2 days on Tuesday or a week away on Saturday? Is that one of those where you're like, oh, I can just pour myself entirely into this one and then I've got plenty of prep time, a few days off to have after it? Or do you just prepare for it like any other game?
To be honest with you, I throw myself into every game. I think if you... You play every game as if it's your last. Otherwise, what's the point in bothering? So one of them, we went into Blackburn and that was the biggest game. The next game's, it's common now, it's a bit of a cliche, but the next game's the biggest game. And it's so true. You don't worry about what's coming after that. Yes, we've got a 2-week break, but international break is an opportunity then to train. It's not much of a... You do get some time off and a little bit of a break.
Oh, you'll be doing double sessions, I imagine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think we keep the games coming. But no, it's an opportunity then for them to work on little bits that the manager wants for the next block of games. That's the perks of having it. But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, thinking, right, you can go last 15 minutes, just run. But I think if you didn't have that mentality against Blackburn, I don't think we go and get the third goal and win the game.
No, exactly. I think that's bang on. Sort of with your role, Harry, as a leader of the team and everything like that, is it giving you a lot of satisfaction the way we've started the season and the way that performances especially have picked up? Because results haven't always gone the way that performances have perhaps deserved. I mean, Stoke, for example, I think we were deserving of a point at least there. Forest, we dictated the majority of that game and we just caught them, I think, at the worst possible week. Is that something that you're taking a lot of pride from this season?
Yeah, I think we all can. I don't think me specifically I can. I think everybody across the whole team. I think it's a team full of leaders themselves. I think you go through it. I think from all 11 players that play against Blackburn could have worn the armband because every single one of them is fighting for the badge. And I think that's all that the fans want. Someone who's gonna lead. And if you have that, what more can the leadership core group, as the manager calls it, what more can we ask for? Like, and what more can the players ask for if we're all in one alignment, working tirelessly to do it? Like, for example, you've got Tom Lees. He was club captain at Sheffield Wednesday. We've got his wealth of experience in the dressing room. He doesn't need an armband to lead. It's one of those. We've got Matty Pearson. He's been there, done it. He's been in Halifax Town. He was telling us a story about he was at Halifax Town and he was turned up 15 minutes before kickoff, had 2 men sent off, end up winning the game. And I'm just sat there going, this is bizarre. But like, this is all like stuff that it brings you all closer together because we're all sharing memories and we're all sharing sort of football things. And then when you get put on a bus for 7 hours to Swansea, you've got nothing really else to talk about when you've completed Netflix. So no, yeah, it's good. It's an exciting time, and all we can do is keep pushing, keep working hard, and hopefully give the fans a club and a team to be proud of.
Leon, just before we end, you cover town most weeks. Has it been a lot more enjoyable sort of watching the brand of football and the way we've been going about our play this season from the press box than perhaps it was last season when we were just perhaps struggling to get those ideas from the training field onto the pitch on a match day?
Yeah, I mean, it looks, obviously, the game against Blackburn, they really did look like they got the mojo, didn't they? And, it's that collective effort that Harry spoke about. Obviously, Danny got the goals and got 2 goals. Sorba Thomas, 2 assists. There were contributions from all over the park, and not just in terms of goal scoring. Obviously, Alex Vallejo got his goal, and it was a great goal as well. I mean, just some timely blocks from Tom Lees, little things like that. Sorba Thomas, he's tracking back in his defensive work. Sinani was causing a lot of problems with his movement. Lewis O'Brien, with the captain's armband, taking that responsibility and his drive, and across the pitch there was a real vibrancy, and they've got it right on a few occasions this season. It's been great to see. There's going to be bumps in the road along the way. That's Championship life, but it's just really encouraging. Obviously, I spoke earlier. They've sort of 4 or 5 times have lost already this season and hit back straight away with a win. And, it's something that the fans are buying into. They look a set of lads who are really enjoying themselves, enjoying the company, enjoying themselves on the field. Good characters, and it's been a sound start, and can get a result on Saturday. It'll be a pretty good one, won't it? And it's all going well.
Yep, touch wood that continues. It's been a really good and positive start to the season. It sounds like a lot of confidence going into Saturday as well. So I'm looking forward to that game because it sounds like it's going to be a cracker, and I'm sure town fans are too. Toff, thank you very much for taking the time on your day off. Good luck for the weekend. I'm sure you won't need it. And Leon as well, thank you for your time, and we'll speak to you both soon. And thank you to Sports Broker for sponsoring the show.